This podcast is a proud member of the UUOP Network.
Are you ready to go the distance with Tricia's Disney pick? Or will Melinda deliver a Jurassic-sized knockout punch with her universal choice on this episode of Theme Park Throwdown?
Everyone, and welcome to another battle on episode 3 of Theme Park Throwdown. I am Melinda.
And I'm Tricia.
And this week we're going to break down another topic to see who does it best, Walt Disney Resort or Universal Orlando Resort. As always, Tricia is going to try to convince you that Disney has the leg up, and I'm going to do my best to sway you over to the good side, which is Universal's side. And pay no attention, if you are watching this on video, to the fact that I'm wearing a Disney World sweatshirt right now. You didn't see that. Anyways, we're going to move on to this week's action, and our topic this week will be Disney Springs versus Universal City Walk. So we're going to compare each property's respective restaurants, shops, entertainment options, atmosphere, things like that, and see which place you like to roam when you aren't inside the parks. Tricia's going to start, and she can give us the lowdown on Disney Springs.
So Disney Springs is much older than I originally thought. As a kid, I knew it as Downtown Disney.
I think I'll always call it Downtown Disney. I can't get my brain to switch over to Disney Springs for some reason.
Yeah, just like MGM Studios versus Hollywood Studios.
Yes.
Yeah, same.
Yeah. I still miss that big Sorcerer Mickey hat.
Oh, yes. Well, Downtown Disney actually dates back, or Disney Springs dates back to 1975. I didn't realize it had been around that long. And it was known as the Lake Buena Vista Shopping Village. It's undergone numerous name changes until 2015, when we have the current name now of Disney Springs. So if you think you want to save some steps while you're in Disney Springs, I hate to break it to you, but it covers 120 acres of land. So to put that in perspective, if you've ever been to the Mall of America, they're about the same size. So,
Jesus. And I think we mentioned this on Port Key Passport one time, that Disney Springs is bigger than the entire Disneyland resort.
That sounds about right.
Yeah. It is wild.
Kind of similar to the parks, Disney Springs also has lands. It has the marketplace, the landing, town center, and west side. I know, highly distinctive naming, right? So it's really easy to tell where you are.
So creative.
But each area is themed, and so I'm just going to break down each area a little bit since it is such a large space. The first one is the marketplace. It's themed after the 30s and the 40s, craftsman style, and it's home to places like Earl of Sandwich, which is a chain restaurant. You don't see much of those up here in Wisconsin, but they have some pretty decent sandwiches. My daughter's favorite, the Rainforest Cafe, that looks like a volcano with real smoke, and has regularly scheduled eruptions throughout the day. And then, of course, I'd be remiss if I didn't include World of Disney, which is the largest Disney merchandise collection of where you can purchase items in the world. It's also the easiest place to get lost in Disney Springs. So in addition to the shopping and the dining, they also have a free Disney Photo Pass experience. Sometimes it can have a line, and you actually get 2 different photo ops. One has a grayed background, and they'll put whatever. I know one time we went and they did a Star Wars theme. And then the second spot that you can go to, it changes regularly. I was there in the fall and they had it Sleepy Hollow themed. Right now it's Tangled. So there's the ugly duckling sign behind you, and there's a horse harness for Maximus and stuff. So that changes regularly. So if you have like Photo Pass on in the My Disney Experience app, or you pay for the photo package, those would be included in your photos. Otherwise, you can purchase them if you want separately. It's no cost to get the actual photos taken though, which is kind of nice. The last thing that I wanted to mention is that there are a couple of attractions. There is a carousel of about 6 horses and a very
Oh, it's
small train.
tiny.
Yeah, these are like
See, now why
littles.
do I feel like I've never even seen this? Clearly, it's tiny because I cannot recall seeing this
It's
at all.
tucked, yeah, it's tucked back in a
Back.
corner. But they do offer
Okay.
that as for an additional cost. So, if you just have a rambunctious 4-year-old and you need to get some energy out, throw them on a horse and let them go around in a circle. It's all, that's an option. The next land is the Landing, and it's themed after the fictional transportation hub. So Disney Springs is supposed to be like a city, and it's probably larger than some of the cities in Wisconsin, to be real honest.
Yeah.
So that area is a lot to do with themed around transportation. And a couple of examples of that would be Jack Lindsay's Hangar Bar, which he was the pilot in the Indiana Jones movies. So if you go into that bar, it has a lot of like Indiana Jones artifacts. It's kind of themed like those movies. They have some fun drinks, and some
That's a really
like,
cool place. I like
yeah.
it there.
And I mean, you can have kids in there. I think it's more fun if you're in there with a group of adults. The other one that's kind of nearby is Paddlefish, and it's actually, or excuse me, yes, Paddlefish, or is it the Boathouse? Now I'm drawing a blank. I think it's the Boathouse is the one. Yes, not Paddlefish. I apologize. The Boathouse is actually in a replica like water wheel boat that used to be called. It was named after Walt's wife Lily, Lillian. It was like called the Lily, and from there you can actually rent these amphicars that look like old Cadillacs that go out on Buena Vista Lake,
Yeah,
or
those are
Lake Buena
cool.
Vista. Just a heads up though, for 30, I think it's like less than a 30-minute ride. It's $100.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay. Maybe they're not so
so
cool.
they're cool to see other people spending the money on, and you're on the
Yeah,
shore watching it.
that sounds about
It's
right.
something to watch. After that, we hit town center. This is like the business center. So it's very like brick, very Spanish revival. There's a lot of retailers here. Stuff you would find like pretty much anywhere. There's like Sephora and Kate Spade. But then a couple of my favorites that I like to mention. I love Vera Bradley. Um, they have unique prints that are like Disney or Disney franchises that you can only find at this location, and sometimes they'll put it online. Um, and then my other one that's kind of on the opposite end of the expense budget is Uniqlo, and they have a lot of like generic like solid color shirts and things like that, but they also have an area of like t-shirts and things that are they have like Mickey or Star Wars or Marvel, and their shirts run really reasonably. Like they're less than what you would pay for a Disney t-shirt of a similar quality at the World of Disney. So that's, if you're looking for like souvenirs on a budget, that's a good option to pop into that store.
That's good to know.
Yeah, the final area is called the West Side because it's on the West Side. So again, very creative naming here. Um, Again, the architecture shifts more to like a 1950s style architecture. So you can kind of tell where you are based on like the theming of the buildings, but that's going to be your entertainment district. So that's like where the AMC theater is. The Cirque du Soleil theater is there. And then coming this year is something called Level 99. It's a competitive gaming venue that's over 45,000 square feet. So it's where Disney Quest used to be. And then after Disney Quest, for a very short period of time, it was called the NBA Experience. I just don't think that got traction because it was a very niche market of people that had any interest spending time there. But this is going to be like physical and mental challenge game rooms, arena duel, and there's a 2-story bar with chef crafted menus. So that'll be interesting to see what that's about.
Ooh.
So to wrap up Disney Springs, I just want to give you a couple of my favorite spots and a couple of tips. First off, CityWorks Poorhouse is a very good restaurant. They have some of the best macaroni on property.
I agree. I've had it there and it's so good. I feel like that restaurant in general is just very underrated.
It is. You can usually get a reservation. I was there
Mhm.
once with a party of like 16 people, and they had no issue getting us seated together. So if you
Nice.
have a large group, that's a good option. Um, Summer House is another restaurant on the lake. I really like that. They have good food. They have fun drinks. I like their cookie bar. They have a larger
Mhm.
selection than Gideon's, and you don't have to wait in line for 45 minutes
It's
to
in the
get a
45-minute
cookie.
line.
Um, we as a family, we also like pin traders. And I like getting a pin. I only collect Star Wars, surprise, surprise. But you know, pins are small and they travel well, so I don't have to worry if it'll fit in my suitcase.
Yeah,
Um,
that's a big problem sometimes.
yes. I remember one time I went to Disneyland, I had to leave behind most of my toiletries to fit my souvenirs.
Worth
So
it.
I've never it was, but I don't ever want to do that again. So, um, the last thing I wanted to mention was the aerofoil balloon. This thing is very iconic. Like, it's a little finicky. They won't go up on like windy days or if there's inclement weather, but on a really nice day when you're driving into property, you can see that thing. It's up in the air. It is tethered. It's not like you're floating away in a hot air balloon, but it gives you some really unique views of Disney property.
Yeah.
So it's
It's a
kind of
helium
fun.
balloon, isn't it? Which is kind of
Yeah.
crazy because it's
Yeah.
massive, and to think
Yeah.
that, like, just helium is holding that giant thing up there is a little scary.
True. It has not crashed so far, so I think they figured out the
Hope
science
not,
behind
don't
it.
even put that out in the universe.
Um, and just a few tips. So first of all, parking is free. You do not have to pay for parking. Um, Secondly, I've stayed in some of the Disney Spring area resort hotels, and many of the ones that you can kind of see Disney Springs from are within walking distance. Like they're just a couple of blocks. It's very pedestrian friendly. They have like a bridge that goes over one of the roads so that you can just keep walking and you don't have to wait for like stoplights. So I think that's great. Depending on what time of the year you go, they have different things. Like I said about the photo pass, but also in the like in Christmas time, they'll do like the Christmas tree trail, which is kind of fun. They'll do like last year they did like a health and wellness month, and they had like
Mhm.
yoga in the morning, and they offered different things there. So you could always go over to the Disney Springs website to see if they have offerings, or you could reach out to a travel agent who could, help you plan that too. Yeah, yeah. Cough, cough.
Are they
Um,
still doing, like, I know they had started the drone show. What is it? Dreams That Soar, is that what it was called? Is that still a
yeah,
thing?
that did not last very long. I think it was
Aw.
hard. Yeah, drones will not fly in inclement weather. It was a very tight
Yeah.
space because they would fly over the river between Disney Springs and then there's a resort on the other side. So I think there were a lot of people who got upset too. Like I did try to go once with my daughter and we stood and waited like an hour and a half just to have them cancel the show. So that was disappointing.
Oh,
I would not
for
recommend
sure.
them bringing that back. Now if they
Yeah.
did win an Animal
That's
Kingdom and it could be
understandable, but it was
quiet and it
cool.
wouldn't disturb yeah.
Yeah.
So but anyway, and then the last thing that I just like to point out is, like we said, this is 120 acres. There are several citrus fruit themed parking
Mhm.
structures. I recommend taking a picture if you take a car of like where your parking spot is, find a stanchion or pylon with it. But then also when you exit the parking ramp, take a picture of a store or a storefront when you exit so you know where to go back to, because people have wandered around Disney Springs parking lots for a while to realize they were in the wrong parking
People have? Or
lots.
any specific people? I'm just
I mean, I might know someone who
anyone
did
you
that once.
know?
So that wraps up, my lowdown on my fighter this week. So I'm going to turn it over to Melinda.
Got it. All right. Well, Universal City Walk isn't quite large enough to have different separate areas, but they do have kind of an impressive number of offerings compared to the size of the property because it's really not that large. But so I'm going to separate my topics into the type of establishment. So whether it's a restaurant or entertainment or shopping, etc. So, but as far as general info about City Walk itself, it opened in February of 1999, so just before Islands of Adventure, and it was kind of the component that transformed Universal into a full resort destination, into Universal Orlando Resort, as opposed to just a theme park. So that's kind of the neat part about it, I guess. It is super easy to walk to. It's easy to access by water taxi. You can access it from one of the Universal buses if you're staying on property. It's just a fun, high energy area where you can do some exploring. And I feel like I have to have at least one night during every trip where I'm just walking around getting into, new things on City Walk. So whether you're staying on property and you want to kind of take a break from the parks and try out one of the restaurants or find something new, or you're local and you just want some good food and good fun, they are definitely going to have something that you're really going to love. So
I was
I will
going to
start out with a
say,
restaurant. Yeah.
you said it's smaller, but you can still explore. I love how they use the space. Like it's
Yes.
built up,
Building
and
up.
we've, as a family, I've been there numerous times and I find something new every time I go. And I just think that's really cool.
Yeah. Yeah. I love that as well. Unless you have a stroller. Because when you go down over near like Voodoo Donuts and you're trying to get to Bread Box or Bend the Bow up on the upper level and you have a
Mm.
stroller, you have to walk these ridiculously long ramps up and up and up and up and up. And I swear to God, you might as well have just taken a couple laps around one of the parks because it takes you forever to get up or down there. I one time I went and I had a stroller with my 3-year-old, and I was also like 7 months pregnant, and I thought I was gonna freaking die because my husband was off doing something, and so I was just trying to entertain my son, and his form of entertainment was running up and down those ramps over and over, and I had to follow him, waddling my big belly up and down the whole time, so yeah, it's real fun. But you're right, they do make very good use of the small space that they have. So I'm going to start off with the restaurants. In my opinion, if you can't find something that you want or like to eat in City Walk, you are not actually hungry. The amount of restaurants that they have there and different eateries that they have there is expansive. So you've got everything from full service restaurants like Cowfish, which has burgers and sushi and some really cool different combinations. Toothsome Chocolate Emporium, which has an absolutely massive and delicious menu. Vivo Italian Kitchen, which I think is really underrated because I don't hear enough people talk about it, but really delicious Italian food, even if the restaurant is a little loud. And then you've got your quick service eateries like Panda Express. You've got the Burger King Whopper Bar. You even got the Hot Dog Hall of Fame if you are looking for something super quick and easy. Then you've got great drink and dessert options like Fat Tuesdays, Voodoo Donuts, Menchie's Ice Cream. You've got a full service Starbucks if you need a caffeine boost. You can sit on Margaritaville's Porch of Indecision, or you can take a seat at the Lone Palm Airport where you can see Jimmy Buffett's actual Hemisphere Dancer plane
Is that
and
back?
see if you can find the bullet holes. It is back, yes. They
Okay.
took it away for refurbishment, and City Walk looks so strange without that big ass plane sitting there.
Yeah.
It was really it was a really odd sight to see because that is kind of like the icon of City Walk. So I'm really glad that she's back, but there are definitely no shortage of dining options, and they're all pretty delicious. I think it's probably safe to say I've eaten everywhere on City Walk at one point or another, and I've had very few bad experiences at any restaurants there. So,
I had a really good experience at Big Fire Grill. I know that gets like mixed
mhm,
reviews,
it
but
does.
where we were seated, we were on the second story, but it was like on the outside of the building, but still inside. Like they had
Yeah,
added on, and there's like windows, so you can look down into the main space, which because it's so tall, does get loud in there. But it was
yeah,
like we could see the action, but it was still quiet where we were seated, and that was really nice.
that's cool. I've only eaten there once, but I loved our experience. Our service was great, the food was phenomenal.
Yeah.
I thought it was really cool. So, definitely somewhere that I would like to try again. My favorite is Toothsome, though. They just again, if you can't find something that you want on that menu, you're not hungry. And their bar is awesome with everything. Everything's got that little chocolate twist to it. Like, they have a chocolate old fashioned that is, oh my god, she's so good. Anyways, I think I just need dessert. So, as far as retail stores go, the offerings have changed up quite a bit over the past few years because we have this addition of the massive new Universal Studios store. You can find everything you could possibly ever want from any Universal IP. It is the world of Disney of Universal. And it seems like every year it's growing bigger and bigger. They also now have a brand new butterbeer bar, so you can get your beloved butterbeer, whichever type you choose, without having to wait in the half an hour long line at the butterbeer cart in the parks. So you
It's a
can
good
also
hack.
take a look at the interactive model of Universal's newest park in the Epic Universe preview store. I'm not quite sure how long that's going to be there now that Epic Universe has, been open for quite a while.
Yeah.
But even having been to Epic, it still is really cool to go in there. It's almost more cool now to go into the Epic Universe preview store now and compare that model to what's actually in existence and open now. It's really neat to see. You can grab some sweet stuff at the Toothsome Candy Smith, which is the like candy store that is attached to Toothsome Chocolate Emporium. I am a bit disappointed that they've gotten rid of some of the old stores that they had that I used to love. They used to have this like massive surf shop that had a lot of really cute like clothes.
Yeah.
There were several trips over the years where I ended up needing a new pair of shoes, either like for myself or my husband or my kids. And it was like the quick, easy way to go and grab a new comfortable pair of shoes that you could wear into the park the next day. So I'm a little sad that that's gone, but that has been replaced with the expanded studio store. So it's definitely
Mhm.
understandable. But there's always gonna be something new popping up. It feels like there's a lot of changeover to keep things new and interesting. Lastly, I'm gonna talk about the entertainment. You've got the giant Universal Cinemark Theater, which is a huge complex with 20 screens, and they will pretty often do kind of fun promotional events for new Universal movies that are premiering. So I know the most recent Jurassic World Rebirth movie that came out, they had did like a free premiere event. If you were a Universal Pass holder, you could go online and get a free ticket to this premiere that they were having at the theater. So it's it's just kind of a neat experience that they can do things like that.
Yeah.
You can play some mini golf at one of the two courses, or you can find your way out of one of the two escape rooms at the Great Movie Escape. I don't know how much longer that's going to be there either because she's not so good. But apparently the bar, I haven't done it, but apparently the bar was really, really great, but the escape rooms kind of sucked. And now they've removed the bar.
Oh,
And so it's just
really?
the escape room. Yeah, the
Oh.
Starbucks that's in City Walk just underwent this huge renovation. And so when the larger location was being renovated, they kind of did like a little pop-up Starbucks where the Great Movie Escape bar was.
Oh.
And
Mm.
so now that the Starbucks has reopened, that space is just kind of there. And they haven't put, as far as I know, at least, somebody tell me if I'm wrong, but they have not
Mm.
put the Great Movie Escape bar back, which seemed like it was kind of the only redeeming quality of that whole area.
Oh, I did the Back to the Future one
Okay.
with my
What
daughter.
do you think?
And so my daughter and I did it. Now she was like 9 or 10 at the time, probably 9. And we didn't do a private party because for 2 people and one of them being young, and at that point I don't know if she'd ever
Yeah.
seen the movies. We end up getting paired with a group of 4, like 20 somethings, and they were so sweet to her. Like they like there's parts where you're like you have to hold on to something and take it with you into the next room, and they would let her carry this item and stuff. And but there were things
Aw.
where we like were in the room and we were like we figured it out. We did whatever it asked and nothing happened, and so we just were like, okay, maybe it's something else, and we'd end up going back to the thing we had done the first time, and then it finally would work. So it's just like really, it was weird.
Glitchy. Yeah,
Yeah, it was very glitchy. And I like the concept is great. The execution, not so much.
not so much. Yeah, and I loved the fact when I found out the properties that they were using. So for those of you that don't know, there's the Back to the Future room and there's a Jurassic World room. And I love the fact that they went with something new, but also kind of nostalgic, and then something like Back to the Future, which is a property that a lot of people would really like to see back in the parks themselves. So at least they were bringing it back in a, kind of roundabout way. So I
Hmm.
loved that, but I'm definitely disappointed in the reviews that have come out of it and what
Yeah.
they did with it. So
Hmm.
so we'll see how much longer she's there. I'm not she should probably count her days. But anyways, you've also, if you want some late night fun, there is the karaoke with the live backup band, which is like the coolest thing ever. I definitely love karaoke. You got to get me a little drunk first, but I love me some karaoke. But playing with a live band is just the coolest experience. That's really neat. It's like a whole different ballgame. But you can do that at Rising Star, or you can check out the Red Coconut Club and Bar. And the really cool thing about the Red Coconut Club is that this venue gets totally transformed for the holidays. And depending on the time of year that you're visiting, you can either go to the Cursed Coconut Club, like it is right now for Mardi Gras, the Dead Coconut Club for Halloween Horror Nights, or the Green and Red Coconut Club for the holidays. But it really, they go all out, decking out this whole place from top to bottom with all of their special themed decorations. And it's really cool that, I mean, if you're somebody that only goes a couple times a year, chances are every time you step foot in there, it's going to be different. So that's kind of
What's
nice.
what's your favorite? Have you done multiples of?
I I have only seen the Cursed Coconut Club for Mardi Gras, and that was a couple years ago, maybe 2023, I think. And then the regular Red Coconut Club with no theming. I have
Mm.
not been in there for the holidays or for Halloween. I would think that if I did go in during Halloween, that would probably be my favorite just because I'm now a complete HHN junkie. But I mean, it's just really cool and interesting how much work they put into it. And it is also interesting because they've only been doing those different themes for a few years now. I want to say probably 2022 or 2023, at least like after COVID, is when they kind of started doing these
Mm.
transformations for the holidays. Because before that, everybody was kind of like, okay, they need to shut this place down. Nobody ever goes in here. It's not anything interesting. It's just a bar. Nobody cares. It's just this like nightclub. But they really have completely changed this space. And now it's like one of the most exciting places to go on City Walk. So I think that's really cool to see a space like that change. Now, I'm going to end this with my favorite form of entertainment on City Walk, which is getting some new ink at Hart and Huntington Tattoo Studio.
Ooh, okay.
So now this is one thing that I feel like Disney needs to totally capitalize on because if they had, I already have two Disney tattoos. And if they put a tattoo studio on Disney Springs, I'd be covered. Because it's so cool to essentially be you're not in the theme park, but essentially you're on resort property and getting a
Mhm.
tattoo of of one of that resort's IPs. It's really neat. So like
Yeah.
I am kind of like a meteorology nerd and have always been a bit obsessed with tornadoes. And so Twister has always been my favorite movie. And those of you OG Universal fans might remember the Twister Ride It Out ride at Universal Studios Florida. And I was devastated when they closed it. And so when I was old enough, I um, got a tornado tattooed on my foot at the Harding and Huntington Tattoo Studio in honor of Twister. So
I love
if Disney
that.
brought a tattoo studio in, I'd be there quite a bit. So step it up.
So, just a question that I have for you on that experience. The
Yeah.
closest thing that I can relate was when in 2019 they have a convention called Star Wars Celebration, and it literally is just a Star Wars con. And I was there in
Nice.
Chicago. They held it, and they have a tattoo alley, so they'll post the
Oh, that's
artists and
cool.
stuff. And I got a tattoo there, but they told me they had restrictions on what they could do, so they couldn't do below the ankle because the fear is that if it was like on your foot and you're walking a lot, it would like cause the ink to
Oh,
bleed.
mm-hmm.
Were there any like stipulations? How did you do with like after having the tattoo? How did they like wrap it? So like, if people are thinking about doing this, but they're maybe like a little reserved because they don't want the tattoo to like bleed while they're at, like the ink to bleed while they're in the park. Like any
Yeah,
suggestions on that?
that's actually a really good question. So I I have many tattoos. And so I kind of knew that, all right, I'm going to be out in the sun all week. This was it was during like a week long vacation. I knew I was going to be out in the sun, and you definitely want to protect, especially new tattoos from sun exposure. And I knew I was getting this tattoo on my foot, and I knew that I was going to be doing a lot of walking. And so I needed to kind of make sure I was taking care of that aspect of it as well. So I personally booked this tattoo for uh, the last night of my trip, so that I was going home the next day. I didn't have to worry about the sun or walking around or anything. But that was,
Mhm.
again, because I knew better. I I can't remember whether or not the studio, like, gave me any restrictions as far as anything
Mm.
having to do
Okay.
with that. Um, I mean, obviously, they talk to you about aftercare and stuff like that, but, like, when I was making the appointment, and Side note, if you are planning on getting a tattoo here or want to look into getting a tattoo here, first of all, they're friggin' expensive, but they do have really great, reputable artists. Second of all, you definitely should make an appointment well in advance. It's really easy to make an appointment. You can just reach out to one of the artists online. It's a very simple process. You place your deposit and then you can do your consultation and talk to your artist before you get there. But yeah, I can't remember them giving me any restrictions as far as what I was getting, where I was getting it, anything like
Yeah.
that. I just knew enough to
Okay.
kind of protect
Yeah.
myself from those possible problems. So
I think that's a great tip. Like if it's something you're interested, doing it towards the end of your trip so that, you're not risking something happening,
yeah.
like go jump in the pool at your hotel or whatever. Probably not a good
Ooh, yeah,
idea.
no. Mm-mm. No, no thanks. Don't yeah, that's just asking for trouble. No thanks. But I love the way it turned out. My artist was great. He was super easy to get along with, super easy to work with. So I had a really good experience there, and I know the shop has really good reviews. So if anybody's ever been curious, give it a shot.
I like it.
So yeah. But that's about all I got for City Walk. She's really cool. She's really fun, but she's definitely not the beast that Disney Springs is. I'm not gonna lie, I have been to Disney Springs quite a bit, and I never even realized I knew that there were different names for the different areas and things. I never even noticed that they all had different architectural styles and things like that.
You know what I think it is? Because it built up. Like the marketplace actually was like the marketplace, and that was much smaller. And I think over
Okay.
time, as they expanded, it was like,
They were just forced to use
what's
the
the
architecture of the
cheapest
time.
material we can get? And now we're going to call this Spanish Revival. I don't know if that's true, but that's it's very eclectic. So
Well, and that makes more sense knowing now how old it is too, because I
yeah,
was just like you. I had no idea that it had dated back that
yeah,
far. So
yeah, it's
yeah, as they
crazy.
continue to build up over the years, they're just like, well, we don't have to make it all look the same. We'll just call it a different area, and that makes it easy on us. I guess it's the smart way of doing things. It's a little lazy, but you know.
That's funny.
Anyways,
All right. Well, did we score a hit and leave it all in the ring? We want to hear from you. Vote in our Who Won weekly poll on social media. We are at Theme Park Throwdown on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. You can also shoot us an email at themeparkthrowdown@gmail.com. Need help planning your next vacation? Reach out to either one of us for all of your travel needs. Just go to portkeyvacations.com and fill out a quote request form to get started. And don't forget to request myself or Melinda to be your advisor. You can also check out all of our sister podcasts on the UUOP network, the unofficial Universal Orlando podcast, the Taste of Universal podcast, the Portkey Passport, a Disney podcast for adults, the Theme Park Duo for your West Coast parks, Rush of Fear, a Halloween Horror Nights podcast, and Big Dumb Stuff. That's it for this throwdown. See you in the ring next week.
bye y'all.